Benjamin, thanks a lot again for giving me some time. And I'm looking forward to hear the story about your family and how they all started in the cider business and also taste through your wonderful product.
Hello, yes, Benjamin speaking here. The son of the Renault family, the guy is producing the Romilly cider. Romilly, it's a very ancient place in France, in Normandy. It was a wooden castle, the very basis, and then it was a big farm. And actually, my grandfather bought the farm in 61, and then the father bought it in 72, and I took over the business in 2015. And that's how Romilly came into the Renault family. Yes. At the very basis, the grandfather was just buying and selling cows after the war. So he needed a place to put the cows. He bought the farm. And then he started cider production, but just for our own consumption, which is very classic in Normandy. Everyone is doing cider. The uncle, the grandmother, the grandparents, usually they are supplying everyone with cider. And so in the 80s, my mother, Cecile, she started to do a saleable cider production with 5,000, 4,000 bottles a year of dry cider. And then she developed the production to be now able to produce 100,000 bottles of cider per year. And we are still pushing and increasing the production. So I'm very proud of my family. Yes, that's why I took over business.
How did you start? Is it just, did your parents teach you how to produce the cider, or did you actually go to school?
No, I never done any school of agronomy or any kind of these schools. Actually, I grew up in the farm. I helped a lot with the cider part because we were also doing some milk production, but that was really not for me. I preferred the apples. So yeah, I can remember in my childhood, I was bottling the ciders with the parents, helping at the production, crushing the apples, etc. So it's all my life, sort of. Yes.
Wow, that is so cool. So you grew up at the property. You followed your grandfather, your parents' lead on getting everything done. That is really cool. And my one question is, how many apples are out there? How many different types of apples go into your product?
Well, let's speak figures. The exploitation is 60 hectares of land. An hectare is 1,000 meters per 1,000 meters. In France, I don't know what is the equivalent in USA. So we are working with half of it, exactly 33 hectares, which are planted with orchards. We are still keeping some orchards of the grandfather. It's the high trunk orchard. There is two kind of orchard, the low trunk one and the high trunk one. The high trunk orchard is very nice when you are doing a milk production because you can have a double use of the land. You can grow apples and you can let your cows in the fields also. But this is really, really tricky. This kind of orchard is really tricky to harvest. My grandfather used to do it manually, 4 tons of apples per day.
Wow.
While now I'm doing 40 tons of apple per day with the architected orchard, which is the low trunk one. With his style of orchard, you can plant 100, 150 apple trees per hectare. With my system, the new system, you can plant 600, 700 apple trees per hectare. So it's not the same. Yes. And the difference about the two production is also the lifetime of the tree. It takes way longer to plant and to grow a high trunk one, 15 years on average, to have a good production. But then the tree can last till 100 years old, maybe a full lifetime, actually, a human lifetime. Wow. Yeah, so that's why I'm still using the orchard planted in the 60s, actually. Wow. The other kind of orchard, the low trunk one, we are using now. The trees, they can produce after 4 years of after plantation, but the lifetime of the tree is about 25 years, 30 years. Yes.
And you have, I read on your website, you use 25 varietals of apples that you use.
Yes, actually, we are working now with 30 different varieties of apple. Why 30? you need some to do the apple juice, very specific apples. You need others to do the pommeau. Pommeau is an aperitif. It's a mix of cloudy apple juice and Calvados aged in a barrel. You need bittersweet apples for this kind of product. For the apple juice, it's the acidulated apples. And for the cider, you need a combination of the 4 big families of apples, which are the sweet, the half-dry, the sweet, there is the acidulated one, the sweet, the sour, and the sweet and sour apples.
Okay.
And then you have the subdivision, the varieties. And the varieties we are using are very, very local varieties from Brittany. Yes, because they are, how do you say that? Acclimated to the local weather. Okay, it's the perfect apple for the local weather. And our apples, they look like more potatoes rather than proper apples. It's not a beautiful round apple. No, it's an ugly apple. Which is not good to be eaten like that, but which is perfect to do some cider. If you come in my orchard and you pick up an apple, you cannot eat it actually.
Oh wow! So I actually, that was another question I was going to ask you. But I thought you could actually go pick an apple and just eat it. So it's totally a different type of apple that you make specifically for cider.
Exactly, because how do you say that? The apple dessert are not the same production than the apple cider. Okay, it's two different branch on the tree of the apple trees. Yes. The harvest season can start end of September. Usually the first week of October and till December. You need several passages in the orchard to harvest all the apples. Okay, so for the same variety, you can maybe pass 1, 2, or 3 times in the orchard to harvest the totality. We are waiting the apples to fall on the ground before harvesting them. When they fall on the ground, it means they are ready to be used. Okay, and then thanks to the warm weather we have in Normandy, in my part of Normandy, because we are close to the sea, about 5 kilometers. We are nearby the D-Day Omaha beach. We don't have frost. So you can keep your apples on the ground 2 weeks, 3 weeks maximum before processing them. Yeah.
Wow.
And about the harvest, the acidulated apples will be harvested first, and then you will do the bittersweet apples, and then the other apples.
So on your property, do you is it 100% organic farming? Do you guys, you guys put pesticides? What do you do to fight the elements around you?
Funny question, because so far we were using a French certification, which is not a certification. Actually, yes, we were the agriculture raisonnée in French, which means we were able to use few chemicals when needed, just what you need to treat the problem. Then the government, some officers came and they asked us if we wanted to certify as agriculture raisonnée or if we wanted to be biologique, organic in English, which is the upper level. So of course we choose the upper level. It makes some changes, a lot of material to buy, because now you cannot take any chemicals to take out the bad weed, on the bottom of the trees. So you have to do it manually. And so we do it with a specific machinery, which is in front of the tractor. And we have to do that quite a lot of times, several times. Maybe 2 passages per orchard per month in the spring and the summer to prepare for the harvest.
Well, that's really good, because I think that's one of the things that, as a consumer, one of the first things that I read when I read the back of a label, right? If it's 100% organic, and there's all different types of organic. Some people say it's sustainable because it may be too expensive because they have too much land to convert it to being organic. But it's really cool that that your product you already got your certification. You guys are at that level now, which is really great, and that's a big thing that we see here in America, right? Where we that's a big label. and we know things are going to cost a little bit more because it costs you a lot more to maintain, right? So
Yeah,
it definitely
machinery is very expensive actually, and also there is actually, as we are living on the farm, the whole family, we won't poison ourselves. So because we are using a well for the water, we have our own water. So if you put any pollution on your land, it will be back in your water, and so no, there is no point. Yes.
No. Yeah, like you said, it becomes a cycle, and it's going to harm you at the end of the day, right? So it's kind of hard. You got to take care of the land, and obviously through generations. What are you guys now? 3 generations, right? Or how many generations are you at?
The third generation, yeah.
Yeah, you're third generation. That's so good. I had a chance to already pour the other 2 ciders. It smells delicious. I just love the ambience of the aromatics that I'm getting right now. So, but you
are at the farm. When you open a bottle, you are at the farm.
I could smell it. It's beautiful. It has a really good aromatic, almost like like wine does, right? So very similar. I love that. And I love the colors on it. So we're going to get into that now. But first, you were going to mention to me, what is a proper way of opening a bottle of cider?
Just before that, you have to understand something about the production.
Okay.
The Romilly production, I would say, we represent with the fellow producers, the guys which are producing like us. We should represent about 10% of the volume produced in France. 90% of the volume is produced with carbonation. They put some gas into the bottles rather than doing a re-fermentation in the bottle. That's very important to underline. There is a very easy way to check if your cider is pasteurized or re-fermented. You take the bottle, you shake it gently, of course, and you look it through the sun, you see, so you can see the particles. If there is a lot of particles, not too much, not too many particles, but if you have particles, it's a sign of quality. It's not dirt, it's just pieces of apples, it's just the yeast also, and it proves, so it's a re-fermented cider. And so the difference is the pressure in the bottle. Our pressure is close to 4 bar. A bar is 1 kilogram of pressure per square centimeter, which is close to champagne. So actually you have to hold the cork like that, and then you have to unleash the cage, and then slowly the thumbs up.
All right, so you said to shake it a little bit, right?
No.
No, I don't want to. So I'm looking at it, I did see particles. It's pretty clear, the particles in the rosé, because of the color. We'll put that in the front of the camera right now as well. This one we're going to open right now. It's going to be your extra dry, extra brut, right? And like you mentioned, I'm going to open the cage. Is that what you call the cage?
The cage, the muselet, the thumb on the cork. Yeah, that's the proper way.
Thumb on the prop, and then I'll do this. All right, let me do that.
And then slowly, I see it's okay. This one is okay. There is not a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah. I see the pressure. It's coming up.
You see?
Yeah, there you go. I see it.
So hold the neck. Put your thumb on it and unleash the thumb slowly, and you will see it. It's open after.
There it is. It was right in my tongue. There we go. Perfect. I see the little bubbles of carbonation already happening. All right. I was thinking it was going to overpour, but it's perfect. Caught it right on time.
If you cool it, after, of course, for re-fermented cider, it's like a beer, like a champagne. If you open it, room temperature, blows out.
Got it.
You have to cool it down.
Yes. These were a little bit more chilled. This one was barely. I think it was at its point barely. So let me pour it now.
That's the perfect way to pour the glass. So then you don't kill the carbonation. You don't kill the gas.
I like that it's not too sweet. It's not overpowering, but I do pick up the nice little sweetness, which sits really good in your palate. I really enjoy that. And you do get that little subtleness of apples on the finish, and it's good. And I love that it's dry. I'm not a big fan of anything too sweet when it comes even to wine. So I see that. So what would be something I would pair this with food?
Well, Bœuf Bourguignon, Burgundy beef. That's the perfect. Something strong like game also. If you're a hunter, you can pair an extra dry cider, Romilly, with game. You can also pair it with barbecue stuff. When you are doing a barbecue, it's a very good way to go with. Yes, very cool plate to go with.
So this was really good. I like that it was the extra dry. Now, what are you guys actually just released a limited edition of a rosé, right? This is what this one is next. Awesome. So let's move on to that. So tell me about your rosé, which I already poured it. So this is good. So tell me about it.
So the rosé, you do it with the Châtaigne Rouge or with red flesh apples and other apples. You can mix it, yes. The difference between this one and the other one will be mainly also on the density. The density expresses the quantity of sugar you have in the liquid, okay? Yeah. When you do your press work, so let's come back on the harvest. You do the harvest, I would say October, December. You crush the apples as they are coming. You need at least 16 varieties of apple to do a cider, for example. Wow. You will mix all the apples directly in the sorting machine. You clean them, etc., and then you do the juice. This juice will go in a vat. And the juice at this time, day one, the density is 1060. It expresses the quantity of sugar you have in the liquid. The higher the density, the sweeter the product, okay? So 1060, that's the apple juice. Then if you wait 3 weeks, the natural yeast will consume the sugar and transform it into gas and alcohol. And so then you have a loss of density and you go from 1060 to 1030. 1030, that's the density of a sweet cider. Then if you wait a bit more, you will be at 1025, which is the pink or the half dry cider density. Then you will have the dry 1020, and then 1015, maximum 1010, that's the extra dry. And then if the ciders are going below 1010, you cannot bottle it as a cider. You have to distillate it to do some Calvados, brandy of apple if you want, or you can cook with it to do some confit de cidre, which is a caramel of cider. Yes, that's the.
And your alcohol level on these, they're all ranged. I mean, they're pretty low. It's almost like a beer, right? They're set between 4.5% to max 6%.
Yeah,
so
a cider usually goes from, I would say, 2%, 2.5%, maximum 7% maximum. Our products are all between 3 and 6% of alcohol, depend on the years, yes. And the density when you bottle it, actually.
It has a really pretty color as well. It tastes very well. I mean, I love it. It's nice and sweet, but not too sweet. It still has that. Yeah. I like that. It's this one, but it still carries a little bit of the dryness finish though. It's not like it's a complete sweet bomb in your mouth, right? It's very well balanced. So I really enjoy it. Then you also could taste the earthiness as well on this. So you really are in the farm when you're actually tasting this line of them, which is really good. What would you pair this with for food?
Well, this one is very, very sweet. So I would say any kind of dessert, or it can be drunk at the aperitif. Yes, it's a very refreshing drink for afternoon. It's really low in alcohol. I don't know what's the rule in USA, but in France we can drink a bit. So you can offer you a bottle of cider in an afternoon.
What are we trying next? This is a half dry demi-sec.
Wait, 3.5%. What's the percentage for the US?
4.6.
4.6, yes.
4.6 of alcohol in this one. Move that this way. The demi-sec. And how how receptive are the people in France of your product?
We have more and more success. There is
Okay.
there is two things for that, in my opinion. There is the global trend.
Yeah.
Everyone is looking for better products, better quality of products. They are paying attention also to the guys who are producing the products and the way they are produced. Yes, and also we clearly increased the quality of our product. We invested a lot, massively, on the machinery, on the filtration system, and now on new vats, etc. So now we are producing a better cider than 20 years before. That's for sure. Yes, for sure. So the quality is better, the filtration is better. We had a problem in the past, but with old Norman ciders in re-fermentation, it was the opening. As you told, you can think about a cider which is blowing up because you cannot control the yeast. And actually at Romilly, we are not using wild yeast, but we are using our yeast, okay? We know them, I won't say 100%, but at 99%, I'm sure that you can open the bottle. If it's chilled, it shouldn't go out of the bottle.
Got it.
Yeah, that's very important for the clients because you lose a lot of clients if you are. Yes.
So I definitely like this one. I love the half dry because you get a little bit of the dryness, but you also it's really well balanced with the sweet. And this is definitely with the weather, nice little hot weather. This is a perfect drink.
This one too, yes. And usually we advise our client to eat it with mussels and fries. It's very French with the cream, etc. It's a summer thing. And also with oysters. It's very nice with oysters.
Wow. Okay.
We have very good productions here, and often the oyster production, they are buying us some bottles to sell it back into their production with the bourriche.
Wow. Joe, and I saw that on your website. You have a really good, nice tab of where all the jams, the confits, all that. So that is so cool because you actually get to really think about what you could pair things with beforehand, right? As you're making your selection of your product before you buy it. That gets me to one of our final questions. Your product is available in the US, and I see a lot of your distribution is mostly in the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
You're obviously your product is very well sought out for. You're in one of the most popular organic whole food stores, and it's Whole Foods, and obviously being in that retailer means a lot to us as buyers. If your product is on the shelf, we know it's a top of the line product. And it really reflects on your product that is so great, the quality of it. I love that, 3 generations in already, and your product is very elegant. It tastes well. It has beautiful aromatics. It's definitely something that I would go now and actually go into a store and actually buy. I know you guys are only in English. So that is so cool of getting to learn about your family history, Benjamin, and how you've kept up with it and delivering an awesome product. So I really appreciate your time today and sharing this beautiful lineup of ciders with me. And keep up that family tradition, and I look forward what comes in the future from your family and the great cider business you're involved in.
Merci pour l'interview.